My name is Eddie. I'm 30 years old. I came from an engineering background. I studied mechatronics. So I was in construction field for 3 years. And one day, my friend, which is my partner also, he came to me with a fishy idea to start a fish business that is bringing Pontian seafood to the people in Johor Bahru. So that's when we started Fish Club 3 years ago. Because all this while, Pontian is famous for their fresh seafood, and we have been doing this for 4 generations. And Pontian is famous for the fishing trip because our fishing boat is generally smaller and we do fishing trip within 30 to 40 hours. That's the reason why we don't have to use any sort of chemicals or preservatives. So we can promise to our customers we are bringing the freshest possible seafood without the harm and all sorts of chemicals to your doorsteps. And with the rise of e-commerce technology, the lower barrier of entry of all these tax, I think it's the suitable time for us to enter the market. One other thing is not much of people is doing this because most of the fishmonger are still doing the traditional way. And how we do it differently is we put this online and we get the first hand to handpick our freshest fish from the fishermen directly. So the traditional way, fishes are going through all this auction process, wet market, and in the end the consumers will buy it and they will freeze it themselves at their home. We're using their household freezer. And we do it differently is right at the morning we will go and collect the fish, and within hours of time we will gut it, process it, vacuum pack it and blast freeze it without the use of any chemicals. That's how we maintain and preserve the freshness of the fish, and then we deliver straight to the doorsteps. My team, okay, honestly my team are still currently very small. So we all came from very humble families from Pontian. So everybody in my team, including myself, we love fish. We eat seafood almost 3 meals a day, including our breakfast. I might be still selling some electronics on Laoyat, might be. I don't know because I cannot repeat. That's a very big question to measure success. I mean, for myself personally, I would measure success as long as I'm doing better than myself compared to yesterday. I would like to see improvement on myself, that I'm pushing my hardest, my best in terms of work life, in terms of family life. There is the recent W11. So it's our first time getting ourselves on board on this e-commerce, the single day. It was a surprise that we can actually get a lot of new traffics using all these e-commerce day events. It is not something that we decide, but rather a marketing. So Double 11 is something created by Alibaba and we just play along with the wave. So the upcoming one would be Double 12. So we will be participating as well. Come back to our business. Our biggest festival is still Chinese New Year. So we kind of focus a lot more on that festive itself. Statistically, we are seeing like 6 to 8% month-to-month growth since day one until today. So we are expecting the same, or if not a better growth rate during the next year. Back to our Pontian demographic, all the while we have been seeing our friends and family, which are all Chinese. We thought that the biggest seafood consumption will come from all this Chinese community. We were very hopeful that when we put this online, the customers, or at least the audience that we are attracting, would be the Chinese community. But surprisingly, the first paying customers was an expat, was from England. She actually did the payment through PayPal, which was surprising to us also. According to projections, it's double of today. We have multiple threats. The most obvious one being any fishmonger can also put their products online and start selling online. This is like a very low barrier of entry, especially when Facebook is now offering their marketplace. So the other biggest threat is I think a lot of fishermen from not only Pontian but also from East Coast, from Sabah, Sarawak, they are also doing something similar. The thought is, how can I be better in terms of delivering all these fresh goods? Are we competing in just goods itself, or are we competing in better services, better fulfillment, better deliveries? So these are the things I feel that it's a threat, but it's something that winners stands out. I'm dealing with something that is much more harder and sophisticated than the typical e-commerce, whereby you just source from something that is low cost and you just repackage it and sell it. And for my case, we are working very closely with the sources, which are the fishermen. So what we did differently from the typical e-commerce is we had this processing of the fish as well. So we need to get the knowledge of how to choose, how to source a good fish, the quality fish, and how do we clean it, guard it, and process it, how to pack it, and how to freeze it, and then only we deliver like all else, all the others e-commerce do. So we have a big chunk of our team resources are put into this processing fish. So I think that part itself is a very big challenge when you are talking about fresh goods e-commerce. You need to maintain the quality. There are a lot of resources allocation going to the processing part. I think the biggest unseen opportunity 3 years back was this social media, because everyone else is doing like Taobao, 11th Street, Lazada, but all those are focusing on consumer products. None of them are doing this fresh produce thing. So I think we are the first few that jump into this social media with our fresh goods, which is our seafood back then. So we kind of took the first train in this space. When you're talking about e-commerce, you are buying something off the internet without seeing any of the product itself in a real world. So your expectation can only rely on the reviews, the photos that is provided by the sellers. So as a consumer, if I'm buying something else off, say 11th Street or Lazada, I would definitely look at the review, and my expectation would be not far off from the review. But when it comes to fresh goods, it's even harder because you have non-standard products and you have no realistic pictures that are portraying the products that you're buying. So if I'm buying something that's having so much uncertainty, I need some sort of securities, something like refund or money back guarantee, which is why we are providing that until today. Yes, we are currently doing all this crowdfunding thing, and a lot of marketing and also hiring need to be done at our current stage, especially when you're talking about competition is catching up. So it's about the speed of how fast we bring this to the next level. So previously, me and my team, Joel, we have this thought of no, we can do it on our own. I think we can just find resources on our own. But this is our internal thoughts. But the reality, the market is very open. The market is very big. People that have similar thoughts as us, they have resources as well. So they have team as well. So it's a competition against the market, who be the fastest and who be the leaders. With the help of investors, we believe we can get a lot of inputs from them, especially when you're talking the market as a whole and how to better form our team, because me and Joel is actually from engineering background. So we kind of need another guy from different background that can assist us on growing this business to the next stage. So we feel that from the investor side, we can get a lot of this kind of inputs that are lacking in our team. Sometimes this is coming from a personal experience. Don't think too much, just do. So that's how I lasted all these 3 years. Because a lot of decisions when discussed among teams, it might usually end up there is no conclusions or solutions. So you guys might be just discussing and not doing, especially when you have like 3 very like-minded person. So the key to getting things done sometimes it's not too much about discussing how this should be done. It's actually taking action and do it, make mistake fast and amend it. That is the better way of getting things done according to my experience. Hi guys, if you're a fan of Ponten Seafood and premium ingredients lover, check out our website at freshatheart.my. We deliver premium seafood straight to your doorsteps.